Vladimir Putin has warned that the US anti-missile defence system in Europe risks the entire region's safety.
Rockets within a 500-kilometre range are being positioned in Romania now. Rockets with a 1,000-kilometre range are on the way. But what's even worse? These rockets can easily be replaced at any moment with long-range rockets that can travel 2,400 kilometres and no one will notice, even the Romanians. This is a huge danger to us and we will have to react immediately. Those parts of Romania that didn't know what it's like to be in the crosshairs will have to face our countermeasures that ensure our safety.
The Russian president was speaking at a joint press conference with the Greek Prime Minister, Alexis Tsipras, during Putin's visit to Athens. RT correspondent Roman Koshev has more from the Greek capital.
Vladimir Putin said that the American anti-missile defense system in Eastern Europe poses a real threat to Russia. That system was initially put in place in various countries surrounding Russia in order to counter the Iranian nuclear threat. But due to certain agreements that were made recently, the Iranian nuclear threat no longer exists. So all these new anti-missile defense systems that are being put in place all around Eastern Europe, basically very close to Russian borders, really pose a threat to Moscow. The Russian president said that Moscow is ready to cooperate on this anti-missile defense issues with the United States. However, he added that there is no one to talk to about that, as Moscow hears no response to this issue from the Americans.
Well, let's discuss the US anti-missile defence system in Europe further now with political commentator Lawrence Davidson. Welcome, Lawrence. Now, the US insists that its anti-missile defence system in Europe is not targeting Russia. What is your view of that?
Well, you might ask them who it is targeting. I mean, obviously, it's this placement of missiles in Eastern Europe sends a message to Russia, and the message is, look, you are not allowed to have a sphere of influence. Indeed, the Chinese aren't allowed either. The only one who can really have a sphere of influence is the Americans and their proxies in Europe. This is essentially the Cold War theory of containment brought into the 21st century. So the whole notion that these missiles aren't targeted towards the U.S. or Russia is just baloney. I mean, who else are they aiming at? The Scandinavians? What?
As well as the issue of who they're targeting, another issue is where they're actually located. President Putin said that the US could even place long-range missiles in Romania and do so without the Romanians knowing about it. Is that a likelihood, do you think?
Well, I don't know. It depends upon who's in charge in Washington. But in fact, there's precedent, I mean, for this. I mean, you've got, you have the history of missiles in Turkey. And those missiles were interchangeable in many ways as well. I mean, they were, I believe at the time, they were intermediate range missiles, but there's no reason why you can't upgrade the status of these missiles. I think that the Russian government has every reason to be concerned. And the hypocrisy of all this is to be noted. I mean, what would happen if Russia had given intermediate or long-range missiles to the Venezuelans? I mean, Washington would go, pardon the pun, ballistic. So essentially, we've got an opportunistic, potentially neoconservative war party in Washington, particularly among the Republicans. They're putting pressure on Obama and the Democrats. Probably Hillary Clinton has given her okay to this move, and it's a dangerous one.
Putin had lots to say about Romania. He actually said that they could be in the crosshairs if the US decides to place long-range missiles there. Do you think that Romania should be worried?
I would. In fact, I think they're already in the crosshairs. I mean, what is the Russian response to be? They're going to have to move their own missiles into proximate areas to the eastern border, particularly Romania. I mean, you could always replicate the Warsaw Pact strategy and just put 10,000 tanks on the Romanian border or something like that. I mean, Romania, by soliciting this move, has become a magnet, and Poland too. So you can't have this kind of arms armory in your country and not be in the crosshairs. It's just the logic of the situation.
Many thanks for joining us, Lawrence. Our guest is our political commentator, Lawrence Davidson.
Thank you.